For how long can you hold your breath? Not for more than a few minutes, isn't it? Life is impossible without breathing. The earth is covered by the atmosphere which is all around us. All living beings on land survive because of the oxygen available in the atmosphere. Air enters the body through our nose and then reaches the lungs. Air has oxygen that dissolves in our blood, and blood takes the oxygen to all parts of our body. But this applies to all living animals on land and in the air. What about those creatures that live in water? How do those organisms breathe? Today, we shall talk about this. How does one breathe
underwater?
There are many life forms underwater. We know that oxygen dissolves in water, and the organisms that live in water depend on this dissolved oxygen for their survival. But how? Let's first talk about fish, the queen of water. How does a fish breathe underwater? Fish have specialized organs called gills. The gills have many capillaries. Fish take in water through their mouth. This water passes over their gills and comes out of their bodies. The dissolved oxygen passes through the thin walls of the gills and enters the blood. The oxygen reaches each cell in the body through the blood and keeps the fish alive. Like fish, marine animals like octopus, squid, and seahorse do breathe through the gills. But what about those that live both in water and on land? Baby frogs or tadpoles look like little fish and like them breathe through gills too. But when the tadpoles grow into adult frogs, the gills disappear. They then breathe with the help of their lungs. Frogs breathe with the help of their moist skin too. Their skin has several capillaries close to the surface that are capable of taking in oxygen. Isn't it an amazing way to survive in one's environment? Mammals have a different story. Mammals do not lay eggs. They give birth to young ones. Like us, all mammals have lungs which help them to breathe. But what about those mammals that live in water? Mammals like whales and dolphins live in water but take in air from the atmosphere. They come up to the surface of water to breathe. The blowhole on the whale's head is similar to our nose. They breathe in air through this blowhole. The air goes into their lungs. They come up to the water surface to breathe out, and that is when
we see the spout.
both whales and dolphins are capable of holding their breath underwater for a very long time. They can hold their breath for almost 90 minutes underwater. Reptiles are equally adapted to live underwater. Snakes, crocodiles, alligator, and tortoises. And like all other organisms, they too need oxygen for survival. Crocodiles and alligators breathe in through the nostrils on their snouts. They too need to come up to the surface of water to breathe. The amazing jellyfish also lives in water. It does not have specialized organs to breathe. Its entire body surface is so thin that it can absorb oxygen directly from water into the body cells. Plants also cannot survive without oxygen. Plants that float on water, example water lily, have pores called stomata on the upper surface of the large floating leaves. The plant takes in oxygen from the atmosphere through the stomata. But there are several plants that live and grow deep inside water. They are aquatic plants. They have thin leaves that spread out over large areas. It is through these thin leaves that they absorb oxygen, dissolve in water, and survive. So let's watch how does one breathe underwater once more. All life on Earth is dependent on oxygen. Whether it is the living beings on land or those that live in water. Fish have gills to breathe in oxygen, but even those animals and plants without gills have developed their own unique mechanisms to survive underwater. This ability of living beings to develop special mechanisms to survive in the environment is called adaptation. Now it's your turn to guess. What do you think? When a land animal like an elephant swims long distances in water, why does it keep its trunk above water? Guess and discuss. There is a variety of life on Earth and they have different mechanisms of survival. Look around. You might find a unique way in which an animal or a plant is able to survive. Observe and get some new ideas.